Hello to everyone. Our guest today is Oliviero Bergamini, writer and U.S. correspondent for RAI, the major public broadcasting network in Italy. Welcome, Oliviero. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hello.
The coronavirus 19 is creating a globally chaos, causing people to stay home watching TV. People want to know, people want to be informed. For example, Italians have always had a medical view about the USA. Nowadays, is it difficult to explain to the Italian people what's going on with the powerful America, the mighty America that now has been strongly hit by this little virus? With over 50,000 deaths, at least 1 million infected, and about 27 million unemployed in a few weeks, which reminds us the Wall Street crash of 1929.
Yes, well, the myth of America, of the United States and Italy is strong. It's strong still in all of the parts of the world. And what the coronavirus 19 has done is to expose this myth in a way, to show the dark side of this myth. Because not only the United States are seeing a lot of deaths, a lot of infections, but the way the death count has developed has also been really striking, because the virus has unveiled how unequal American society is. A lot of the victims of the virus belong to the minorities, to African Americans, to Latinos, people who are poor, and therefore their health is worse than white people. People who live in neighborhoods where you can't do social distancing because a lot of people have to work to support themselves. They can't just stop working. And because they live in crowded apartments, they don't really have healthy food and so on. A lot of people are underinsured or uninsured. And even though the federal government has established that all the coronavirus cures will be free, won't have to be paid, yet there are sectors of the population that really don't have like any familiarity with healthcare because they're not rich enough to have it. So the coronavirus has unveiled the deep-rooted inequalities of American society. And that has been a surprise. That picture, those bodies, those coffins being buried in Hart Island, the island in the New York Harbor, where bodies who are not claimed by anybody are buried. And so many in the last days, people who died from coronavirus, they don't have a name, they don't have anybody who claims them. Those pictures show the dark side of America. America's myth is well grounded, has a lot of reasons to it, but it also has a side which is not well known. And the virus has kind of taken away the veil.
American media, as we know, are divided in two opposite parts. Fox basically praises the president. Instead, the liberal progressive media are criticizing his policy on the emergency, delays and decisions. For instance, the New York Times accuses Trump of encouraging protests against the governors that have imposed the lockdown in their states. The CNN blames Trump for his narcissism instead of talking about the unemployment increasing rate of 15%. Then a proposal that leaves you amazed. Trump suggests a strange antivirus treatment injection cleaning agents in the body. It's a sort of nonsense, but despite this very bizarre behavior, the popularity of President Donald Trump in times of COVID-19 is going up and down. How can you explain this?
Well, the media in America have been polarized for a long time, and they are even more so today. We must remember that a part of the American public never reads the New York Times, never watches CNN or CBS News. They follow Fox News, they follow talk radios, conservative talk radios, and so they live a sort of in their own reality. And to some extent, that is true of the leftist media. So there's no basically talk to those two camps. They don't talk to each other. That's a big problem in American politics. And it's true that Trump has raised a lot of discussion, a lot of controversy with a lot of things that he has said recently. He has mentioned UV raised as a potential cure for the virus, or even injecting disinfectants into people's bodies. And that, is something that, in the eyes of European observers, should drive people away from supporting him. But even so, as I said, the camps are so polarized, the fields are so polarized, that almost nothing that Trump will say or do will make his supporters lose faith in him. And his approval went up a little bit at the beginning of the crisis, then has gone down a little bit again, and now it's about where he used to be and where he has always been, about 45%, which is about as much as he gets in terms of votes. So there's a very stable, in a way, approval system, which has deep roots, ideological, political, social roots. And so even though Trump is raising new controversies about the coronavirus, that doesn't really affect much, at least so far, what people think of him in both sides of the spectrum.
The Trump's foreign policy has shaken the consolidated transatlantic partnership with Italy and other European countries. A policy that has weakened America's friends, undermining multilateral alliances, choosing confrontation over cooperation, sanctions, embargoes, boycotts in the name of America First, that the analysts define strongly divisive and dangerous fantasy in pandemic times. What's Trump's strategy?
Well, in a way, the way foreign relations have developed during the crisis so far, with respect to Italy, to Europe, and other countries, is fully in line with America First, the America First approach that Trump has cultivated in his whole administration. Let's think of the fact that he tried to buy, as an exclusive, new cures, new vaccines from foreign firms without wanting to share the cure to be, and offering another money so that the cure would be exclusively used by American citizens. Or think about the way he has not offered immediately help, whereas the Chinese have offered help to Italy or the Russians. It was, to a large extent, political, propagandistic move on behalf of Beijing and Moscow, but Washington and Trump have not right away offered help, which is usually what happens with allies. So there is a lot of consistency in the way Trump has approached foreign nations during the crisis. He's not insisting on multilateral approach. He has criticized the World Health Organization. He even withdrew the funds from the World Health Organization, saying that it's too close to China. It's basically a China tool. So there's no redemption, so to say. It's not that he has repented on his approach. America First, no international multilateral action, and basically everybody has to care for itself, take care of itself.
In normal times, the first pages of the American newspaper, the headlines, would have been about the election campaign. The virus has abruptly changed this logic, this habit. What kind of problems can this emergency cause to the President Trump relating to the upcoming elections around the corner in a few months, when the pandemic could last much longer?
Well, first of all, there is the huge question, are the elections going to be held? Because there is some speculation that there won't be an election on November. Actually, Joe Biden recently, he was at a meeting with some donors. He said, you will see Trump will try to push back the elections, try to postpone the elections. Actually, this is technically very difficult, but the very fact that it is discussed shows how big an impact this crisis is having on the entire political system. Then we have the primaries, the Democratic primaries. They have been postponed. One of the two conventions has been postponed from July to August. And there is a lot of questions about many aspects of the elections. If the elections will be held in a time, as Anthony Fauci says, where there is no full health safety yet, probably mailing votes by mail will be very important. Trump has criticized the mail service. He is basically refusing to bail out the mail service, the US mail service. So some people are saying that he's trying to boycott the vote by mail so that the turnout would be lower than usual. And of course, there is the big question of how the virus, the way Trump has managed the virus epidemic, is going to be perceived by the electorate. And as we said, so far, it doesn't seem to have affected Trump a lot. But in the coming months, it could be, I think it could go both ways. If the economy keeps going down, there is no lockdown, there is no lift up, and maybe even the virus comes back in the fall, and then the country is still in bad shape, that of course can hurt Trump. But if the economy begins to rebound, and maybe, let's say October, November, the numbers are good again or rising again, and Trump can project the image of somebody who has saved the country, or at least well managed the situation, then he can profit from the rally around the flag tendency they usually have in crisis. But it's still way too early to say. One thing for sure is that both parties will try to use the epidemic as a political issue, and we'll see how it develops over the next few weeks or months.
Thanks to Oliviero Bergamini, US RAI correspondent, and thank you all for being with us. See you soon.